Welcome to Jesus Jazz and Dessert Wine. Our musical selection for today is In a Sentimental Mood. And when we get to the instrumental part, I want you to move your shoulders and just relax with me and listen to the great sounds. I hope you enjoy it. In a sentimental mood, I can see the stars come through my room while your loving attitude is like a flame that lights the gloom on the wings of every kiss. Drifts a melody so strange and sweet in this sentimental place. You make my paradise complete. Rose petals seem to fall. It's all like a dream to call you mine, to call you mine. My heart's a lighter thing since you made this night divine. In a sentimental mood, I'm within a world so heavenly, for I never dreamed that you be loving sentimental me. Ooh. I just want you to just drift into that music. That's so beautiful. Ooh. Innocent rose petals seem to fall. It's all like a dream to call you mine, to call you mine. My heart's a lighter thing since you made this night divine. In a sentimental mood, I'm within a world so heavenly, for I never dreamt that you be loving sentimental me.
Oh God! I'm sitting here like I'm all in my feelings right now, just real talk. Oh, that song is so. I did not know the lyrics. I'd only ever heard that song played, the instrumental
Right,
version,
right.
and it was always so sultry just with those instruments. But like when you
True.
put the language to it, it just really. Oh, good night. You took
It's
me
one of my
there.
favorites. It's
Okay,
one of my
listen, that's why we call you the Minister of Flavor Musical
favorites.
Vibes.
Okay.
There is a reason why you have that title, and it is rightly done. So, well, thank
Well,
you. Oh,
thank
like looks like
you.
everybody's giving a round of applause. Yay! Okay, let me put you in the green room. Thanks for
All
that.
right.
Family. Oh, in a sentimental mood. That's how I feel right now. I am Alexis Roan, aka Alexis Grace, founder of Truth Meets Story LLC, expanding empathy one story at a time, and host of Jesus Jazz and Dessert Wine at Vespers. Jesus Jazz and Dessert Wine at Vespers is a faith and adult storytelling series. By faith, I mean we explore the mystery of how God shows up or is perceived absent, and we use the vehicle called adult storytelling to make that case one way or the other. And by adult storytelling, I mean stories that are told by adults, to adults, for people with the developed adult context. 7-year-olds have a story time, and now so do adults. You're welcome. Now, here's what's so funny about the fact that I grew up in the household that was run, paid for, supplied, honored, cover. Emily, interesting is that we're very, very different. I was talking with her as I was getting dressed, and she's so funny. She's always kind of like quote picking at me a little bit. And she was like, "Well, I might be late to the virtual pews because I'm, like she's doing this kitchen remodel, and so she's making all of these different choices." And I was like, "Yeah, Mama, you got a lot of hard work to do. Like, that's a lot to do." And then she says, and I'm gonna just put it up here. Mom, I know. Okay, I'm gonna just read this. What I posted on Facebook. Getting dressed for Jesus Jazz and Dessert Wine, talking to Mom, stressing over her kitchen remodel. Me, that's a lot to do, Mama. Mom, I know, right? It's hard out here for a pimp. And then I put hashtag quitting the internet, hashtag after Jesus Jazz and Dessert Wine, and then Mama posted blocked. Like she's been threatening to block me for a minute. So I don't know if that's a real thing or not, if that's just her doing something. Hey, Mama, how you doing? I love you and I appreciate you. But seriously though, but growing up in the household that was run by her, this is not how she ever showed up in the world. She's not, a person who like she's, jazz was not really her genre of R&B, gospel. We both share an undying love for Frankie Beverly. And so that's kind of our flavor, our flow. But jazz is my thing. Jesus is our thing. Adult storytelling is my thing. And so she said to me in the conversation while I was getting dressed, I'm about to go and just, see to it to make sure you don't be cussing too much. I'm like, Mama, I'm 51. Like, I don't know. If I can't cuss at 51, then I guess I'm just not supposed to cuss. But she was like, but you the preacher. And I was like, Mama, I tell stories for adults with a developed context, and we use adult language. So I'm gonna just need you to be okay with that. So I believe that she's okay if she hasn't blocked me. I don't think she has. I am grateful for her. I am grateful for this moment. I'm grateful that you are here with us in the virtual pews, and that I am I'm sad that, well, not really sad. It's going to be okay. That today is our official last Jesus Jazz and Dessert Wine at Vespers. We're going to go on summer hiatus. And what will happen this summer is I will be working other contracts. I'm going to be training people how to tell stories. I need to get more folks out there, not just telling stories in this platform, but seeing the power of story and going out there and sharing these stories with the world, because you're holding on to our solutions. And so I'm going to spend time this summer doing that. I'll be writing as well. And I also have a project that I'm pitching for like different reading festivals, play like one of the things that before a play gets staged, there are certain theater companies that may pick it up and do like a staged reading of it to just kind of give it some legs and see how people respond to it. So I have a project that I am going to be producing, a live event. And so I'm trying to figure out, do I pitch for the staged readings, or do I just stage it myself? I have a very particular way of doing so many different things, and I'm always trying to do more because I want to make sure that my vision is, clearly and properly articulated. So all of that to say, I will be focused on that this summer, and I won't be able to, and we'll taking just a break from Jesus Jazz and Dessert Wine at Vespers, but it's just a summer hiatus. I promise you we'll be back in the fall. And I am hoping that there's somebody that's in the virtual pews who has not yet taken my workshops. I need for y'all to sign up for those workshops. You can go to my website, alexisroan.com, and later on in our time today, I'll also post the link that you can go to and get all of that done. Ooh, today is a beautiful day, and I am grateful to be on this side of eternity. And I am, through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. And I am confident that grace will lead me home. And I also am ashamed of some of the many dangers, toils, and snares that I put myself in. And I'm giving you all of this as sort of a preface for the stories that you're going to hear today, and the storyteller in the way that he's going to come at us. Yeah, I'm ashamed at how I have shown up in the world. And I have to say that there are a lot of people who say that they won't ever believe what I believe, say that they won't ever, be a Christian. They won't ever be a follower of Christ. They won't ever, participate in any sort of religious community, because they say that we are, quote, hypocrites. And they have a lot of good fodder. They got a lot of good evidence. They have a lot of, yeah, fam, they not lying on many of us. We have not all the time showed up in the world very well. One of my favorite theologians, his name is Brian McLaren. He talks about these frames for the gospel. And he said there are 6 frames, 6 ways of framing the way that you go into the gospel, the way that you, the way that the gospel message impacts you. He said the first frame is the gospel of revolution. We are safe as long as they are not in charge. Gospel of domination. We are safe as long as we are in charge. Third frame is the gospel of isolation. We are safe as long as we run for the hills. We've got to separate from them, separate apart. The fourth frame is the gospel of accumulation. We're safe as long as we accumulate enough stuff. Our material goods are gonna protect us. The fifth frame is the gospel of it's the gospel of memory is how I the gospel of victimization. That's what it is. You have been victimized by an experience, and you've got to keep the memory of that injustice alive. He says some of us frame our gospel that way. The sixth frame, though, is the gospel of purification. We are safe as long as we conduct ourselves with purity and insist that everybody else in the world conducts themselves with purity. For a lot of years, particularly when I was young, I framed my understanding of the gospel according to the gospel of purification. We're safe as long as we're pure. The only problem was that I wasn't pure. Not the way that they were framing purity. Like, I'm not the person that's going to lie on you. I'm not the person that's going to like shank you. If I get, I'm not going to steal from you. Like, I'm not going to do that. But that's never what they were referencing whenever they talked about purity, and particularly for single women. Purity. Don't have sex before you get married. Wait for you to get married and then swing from the chandeliers. But that was not what I did. But I kept hearing this message. So it's 1987. I'm a freshman at the University of Texas at Austin. I am a part of a gospel choir. And in this gospel choir, um, all of these beautiful Black, young Christians, everybody pretty much framing their lives according to the gospel of purification. So everything is no sex, no sex, no sex, no sex, no sex. Um, and then you have the hookups. Got the people that's hooking up. So I'm a freshman. One of the little older dudes or whatever, he was in the gospel choir, and he and I are hooking up. And then one choir rehearsal, one day before we would do choir practice, we would always have a devotion time of prayer, time of scripture, some like a brief expositor. Somebody would come in and say something or whatever. And there'd also be a time of requesting prayer for a particular thing. So we are in this practice devotion, pre-rehearsal devotion. And the person who was leading the devotion part says, "Do we have any prayer requests?" And one of the guys that raised his hand was a good friend of the guy that I was hooking up with. And he said, "I need some prayer because I am, I'm struggling and I'm trying to be honorable." And he says, "But I'm grateful for my brother." I'll just call him Patrick. "I'm grateful for my brother Patrick because I called him and I was sharing with him my issues. And it turned out he's struggling with the same thing. So me and Patrick, we need y'all to keep us covered and to keep us lifted up." Now, me and the girl that old boy was hooking up with, we looked at each other. We gave each other a side eye glance. Can you believe this bullshit? So that's what we were. And then he ended this whole thing. It's so y'all just keep us prayed up. Prayer works and everything is going to be good. I believe it was at that moment that I decided to cancel every man of faith that ever stepped to me. Any young ministers, any preachers, any ministers of music, anybody who were a part of that, the faith community and in a leadership role. And they would step to me. I was like, "You know what? Thanks, but no." Now, what's also interesting, just as a side note, two of them came out the closet. One of them is married to a man, and the other one, I was on a date with this other guy, and I saw him at the Anita Baker concert with this white guy. And so he kept looking at me I was like, "Oh, okay." So, neither one of those little situations was going to work out anyway, but I digress. My point is, it was messy, and it was human, and it lacked a ton of grace. There was not a ton of grace for ourselves. There was not a ton of grace for each other. There was just this frame that you're, and you feel what purity looks like. And I was so embarrassed. I was so extremely embarrassed by that whole experience. Not devastatingly wounded. Now I was done, with Patrick. I was done with Patrick, and everybody graduated and went on to do interesting things. What is fascinating, though, is every one of us in this particular story, all of us are involved in leading ministries. But probably only one of us is bold enough to tell this particular story. And I feel like if we won't share where we've been, how can we help others make sense of where they are and how to not believe that where you are right now is where you're going to forever be? How can we lead others into the space of grace if we are so ashamed of who we are and where we've been? By the grace of God, there are stories like the one that you are about to hear. Now, this story is one that, for me, shows exactly why, um, when I say, God, you are like all things are your servants, I believe that. This story illustrates that. This is not a story featuring a minister. It's not a story even featuring a man who is, a person of faith. Um, it is a man who comes into a situation, and he embodies a ton of grace in this situation. I want you to hear it so that you can kind of make sense of what I'm saying. Uh, Today is his baby boy's very first birthday. And so we had to pre-record the story earlier this week. And so I'm going to be able to join you in the virtual pews here in a second. But I want you to listen to this, and then we're going to, what he's going to offer us will lead us into our Vespers. All right. So with that, I want you to receive with a ton of grace and openness Mr. Anwar Newton as he dresses his truth in story.
Hi. Um, about 6 years ago, I used to be the dude in the bar watching everybody else have fun. I was the bouncer. I used to be a bouncer at a small dive bar in Central Phoenix. And every weekend as a bouncer, I would wait to get paid out around 2 a.m. and then head home. And on one particular weekend, around 2 a.m. when the bar was closing, I realized I hadn't eaten for the majority of the night. And I decided on the way home, I was going to buy some food. So after getting my payout for the evening, I head out to my car, which is a 1988 Honda Accord LX luxury. And I get inside and I start to think about what is in between the job and my apartment that I could possibly stop into to get some food. I start up the car, I head down the street, and as I'm traveling down the road, I remember that there is a Circle K gas station in between my house and the bar. So I start to head towards there. I pull into the parking lot. I park my car directly in front of the entrance. And I had this brilliant idea that I knew exactly what I was going to get. So I could easily just pop into the Circle K, get what I needed. And you know what? This will be so quick. I could even leave my car running. Brilliant idea. So I hop out of the car. I go inside the Circle K and I go inside and get food my body doesn't need or deserve. I've got 5 or 6 taquitos in one hand. I got Haribo gummy bears in the other hand. I'm at the cashier waiting to be checked out. And as I approach the counter, the cashier is nowhere in sight. So this starts to make me a little nervous. I give a glance back towards the front of the store to make sure the car is still in the front of the store. And then I look around for the cashier and I realize the cashier is all the way near the back of the store by the soda fountain machine. And they're walking with the urgency of somebody who's had both of their kneecaps bashed in very slowly. I'm beginning to get even more nervous. I give another look back to my car to make sure it's still there. And after a period of time, the cashier finally makes it to the counter and checks me out. After getting my snacks, I head back to the front door and start to approach the driver's side of my car. And I reach for the handle, and then I realize after looking through the window that there's a man sitting in my car. And upon further inspection, that man is not me. So this is all incorrect. This is wrong. This is not how things should be. I'm confused and looking through the window and looking at this dude sitting in the driver's seat of my car. And as if I was disrupting his evening, I raised my hand and tapped on the glass and, with a polite, hey, excuse me, I think you're in my car. There's no other car here in the parking lot, so I think you got the wrong vehicle. The man turned, looked at me through the driver's side window, and with the most apathetic of gestures, just shrugged his shoulders and turned back to the steering wheel and the gear shift, and he started, shifting my car into drive. And I was sitting there looking through the window, getting real, weary that I was about to lose everything I owned in this world. I'm not a very rich man. I own this 1988 Honda Accord LX. I own about 5 or 6 taquitos, and I own about a couple of Haribo gummy bear bags. And as I'm sitting there realizing that my worst nightmare is coming true, the car goes into reverse and he begins to drive out of the parking lot. And I'm standing there and I go, okay, I guess I should try to call the cops. And I hold up my phone and I say, calling the cops. And as I dial 9, I hear the car start up, revving up. And then I hear the car shut off. Then I hear the car start up again. And then I dial 1, and then I hear the car rev up, start back up. Then I hear it shut off again. And as I'm about to finish dialing 911, the car shuts off, and I hear the door open. And at this point, I'm thinking this is where the shooting starts, I am imagining this guy is going to start killing me right here on the spot in a Circle K parking lot. And so I prepare my body for that. And what came next completely threw me off guard. I hear a voice go, hey, man, hey, teach me how to drive this car. And it was at that point I realized I had the best anti-theft system known to man, manual transmission. And this guy did not know how to drive it. So I'm standing there kind of surprised at what's going on. I'm trying to control my adrenaline. I've been a bouncer for a number of years. I know one of the keys is just breathe and think things through a little clearly. And at that moment, I'm getting a good look at this person. This is a younger Black kid. He's light-skinned. He looks like a young T.I., or a young Harry Belafonte for the older people. He's got baggy clothes on, big cargo shorts. He looks, no older than 17 or 18. And I collect myself and I try to negotiate here. I say, hey, man, what's going on? Are you okay? And the kid goes, hey, man, I need a ride. Can you give me a ride? And I go, hey, I can give you a ride, but you got to make me a couple of promises here. You just tried to steal my car. And he goes, okay. I was like, you got to promise, nothing's going to happen here. You're going to be cool. And I can give you a ride, man. And he goes, okay. And I said, all right, where do you need to go? He goes, I need to go to 12th Street and Indian School. Which was near where we were at. And at this point, I'm like, okay, go ahead and get in the car, man. And I'm hoping he would get out of the driver's side, go around to the passenger side door, and I could hop in the car, lock the doors, and leave and end this evening. That's what I was hoping, honestly. I was like, if I could just escape this situation, it would be perfect. But instead, he gets inside the driver's side, climbs over the center console and into the passenger seat. And I was like, damn it. I get inside the car and I sit down and, I'm a little nervous. I don't want to be stabbed in my own car. And I start to get the car in gear and head towards where he needed to be dropped off. And in a insane moment of Stockholm syndrome, I actually start teaching this kid how to drive my car because I'm so nervous with the situation. I'm like, see, man, when you drive a manual transmission, you got to put the clutch in and you got to shift at the same time. And, this is how you drive a manual. So where exactly did you need to go again? And as we're traveling down the road, he goes, Oh yeah, I need to go to 48th Street and Baseline. Now, if you are not from Phoenix, Arizona, these are two very different locations. They have about a 5 or 6 mile difference. You got to get on the highway at some point to get to 48th Street and Baseline from where we were at. So I'm realizing this night is turning into something that I don't want it to be. It's about 2:30 a.m. in the morning now, and I need to find a strategy to get this kid out of my car. I start to merge onto the highway, and I think, okay, it's 2:30 in the morning. You know, the first cop car I see, I'm the drunkest driver on the road. They'll pull us over. I'll explain the situation. This will be over. And as I'm driving down the highway, not a cop car in sight, nowhere to be found. And we're traveling down the highway towards this location where the stabbing's probably going to start happening. And I'm starting to get to know this kid through light conversations, through just trying to keep, everything above the ground, talking to this kid, and as I'm talking to him, I realize he is just a 17, 18-year-old kid, and he's a little mentally unstable. He had a hospital bracelet around his left wrist. He was frantic. His words were scattered. He clearly had issues. He was rifling through my glove compartment and changing the CD stations from one station to another and changing the CD changer. And I start to get towards our destination, 48th Street and Baseline. I'm thinking, okay, I can't go to where he wants me to go. I got to find some other place. And as we're getting closer, I realize there's another Circle K. I go, perfect. I start to get into the parking lot, and I park the car in front of a gas pump. And my strategy is, I got to get some gas. I'm out of gas. And this kid didn't realize that my tank was full. Why would he be paying attention to that? I get out and I say, my card isn't working in the gas pump. Let me go inside and figure out what's going on. Do you need anything, CJ? Now, his name wasn't CJ. I just started calling him CJ in my head, which is short for carjacker. So I was like, CJ, do you need anything in the store when I go in here? And he goes, no, I'm good. I was like, you sure? You don't need me to get you any water or anything? You cool? He was like, give me a pack of cigarettes. And I'm like, cigarettes? Really? As if this evening isn't costing me enough. You want the most expensive thing in the store? Okay, let's go get the cigarettes, CJ. I go inside the store and I walk up to the counter, and the cashier's there at this location. And I go directly up to her and I say, excuse me, miss, I am currently being carjacked. If the man in the car at pump number 3 comes into the store, we are not talking to the police. And then I called the police. She calls the police. My cell phone had died on the driveway over there. So I asked the cashier to call the police. She gets the police on the phone. She goes, okay. I said, remember, if he comes into the store, we're not talking to the police. She's got it. I walk, pretend I'm buying things. I get a bottle of water. I go pick up a pack of cigarettes. And then I get to the counter, and the cashier has the dispatch on the phone. And I don't know if you've ever called the police. The dispatch is one of the most frustrating people to talk to in the police, environment. They're very short. I'm like, hey, I'm being carjacked. Where are you? He's like, what does he look like? Does he have a gun? I say, I don't know. I don't know if he has a gun or a knife. I have no idea. Okay. But we're here at the Circle K and we need help. And as soon as we finish this conversation, CJ comes walking into the Circle K, and I just drop the phone, and I look at the cashier. I'm like, we're not talking to the police. I don't know if he has a gun or not. And he walks up and he goes, can I get a pack of cigarettes? And this cashier, now fully aware of the situation, responds very passive aggressively. She goes, do you have ID? And I'm like, you need to chill. You've got to relax. And he goes, no. And at that moment, then the police came in with a remarkable record-setting response time, came in within 5 minutes of this call. going out. And at that moment, I realized, I had told the dispatch that this was a young black dude, and now there's two of them in the store. So I just want to make sure there was no confusion. I start pointing to CJ. I'm like, it is him right there. That dude right there is the one you're looking for. That is the guy, not me. That dude. The police, 3 armed police officers come, and they detain him and put him down, and they try to get him to relax. And the situation is starting to end. They're going through his pockets, removing a lot of my belongings. I realized on the ride over there, and while he was waiting at the gas pump, he had been putting my car registration and a lot of my glove compartment items in his pockets. So they give those back to me, and then we go outside, and the police officer goes, "Hey, let me make sure you have everything." He takes me over to my car. I do a glance into everything. I say, "I think I'm good, man. I think I've got everything." And I look over back towards the front of the store, and they have CJ sitting down on the curb. It's about 3 a.m. in the morning now. And I'm relieved that this is starting to come to a close. I say, "I'm good, officer. I'm going to take off." He goes, "All right. You want to press charges or anything?" I'm like, "No, man. I just want to go home." And I get in my car, and I start to leave the parking lot, and I'm headed past the front of the Circle K. All the windows are down in the car, thanks to CJ. And as I'm passing the 3 police officers with this kid sitting on the ground, CJ looks over and he goes, "Hey, man, thank you for helping me." And in that moment, I thought to myself, did I help him? Because I hope I did. I really hope I did.
I really love that story. I really love that story. I was cracking up the whole time. Your comedic timing is exceptional.
Oh, thank you.
But I love the story. What I love about it is that it is so perfectly nuanced in terms of the grace that you show, the way that you are trying to make sure that you are safe, and
Right.
in every moment you are making decisions, and life is not really following the good on paper plan. I screamed laughing when you said that, like, you get on the freeway, you are the drunkest driver.
I was like, what else can I do? I gotta look like the cops should stop me, other than just being black and driving. I need something extra. So it was insane.
Oh my God, that is the craziest thing. But even when he said, "Hey man, thanks for helping me out," what do you like? You've had time, like, it's been a few years. What do you think that gratitude for him was about?
I think about that moment a lot, and it often gets me emotional because interactions with the police when you're black in this country are never what you think they should be if you're not black in this country. Yeah. A lot of people think, the police are here to protect and help and serve. And we know that is often not the case when you look like us. And when I saw that young kid who clearly needed help, who clearly needed more than a badged officer telling him to sit down, obey, follow the rules, comply, he needed somebody who was a psychiatrist. He needed somebody who was a family member. He needed somebody who was a friend. And when he said, "Thank you for helping me," I was like, this kid doesn't have any of those people. And instead, he has 3 white police officers. And I hope that they can see that he's in a bad way and he needs help. Yeah. So when he said, "Thank you for helping me," and I look over and I say, I've left him with these 3 individuals, hoping that they had the same patience, had the same understanding and the same empathy. I thought, I hope I did help you, because I've read many a newsline where this doesn't go happy ending after this.
Right. Wow. Well, I'm so grateful for the grace that you showed, in that moment, and but also that you were safe as well.
Yeah.
We need everybody.
One of my biggest fears in life is being stabbed. Like a lot of people have fears of
By
like,
being shot.
people are like, I don't want to get shot today. Being shot does not scare me as much as being stabbed. That is a huge nightmare of mine. And when I was in that car with him, I was like, oh my gosh, this would just be so bad if that was happening.
The first time I heard you tell this story, Anwar, you and I were both being featured at the art museum, the whole story, the inaugural show for the whole story. And what I loved about this story and what I still love about it is, the whole premise for quote telling the whole story.
Right.
You called him CJ, and I was like, oh, they were talking and having, some conversation. Like, no, CJ is carjacker. Like, the carjacker was not, like, his intentions were not to harm. His intentions were to get from point A to point B.
Right.
Prayerfully, whatever was waiting for him at point B was going to help him be better.
Right.
And,
right.
and to scale up. So thank you. Thank you for agreeing to come on Jesus, Jazz, and Dessert Wine.
Absolutely.
And you'll be able to watch the replay where all of the comments that everyone will be making, you'll be able to see how others have responded. I promise you have a growing fan base. Can you what are your where can people follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. It will be at the Anwar Newton, TheAnwarNewton. Twitter, I post a lot of brain farts, and I post cute pictures of my son. So if you like any of those, come on over.
Well, I hope baby boy has the best first birthday ever.
Oh, it's going to be a good one.
Yay, yay. All right. I told y'all. I told y'all he was amazing. Okay, hey Todd. I said that was just Anwar. So he is so quirky. It just is his way. Shady's Mafia. I would like sound like some inside stuff there, right, Todd? Okay, listen. Before I let you go, happy birthday, baby boy. Yes. Okay, so before I let you go, there are 4 things that we do at Jesus, Jazz, and Dessert Wine at Vespers. The first is that we offer a public lament. Now, I wanted to pull up a couple of the comments that y'all were making early on in the in the virtual pews. I want to focus on Tekka's comment. Tekka was like, when your hookup goes to the front of the church for altar call. Ain't that some shit? Okay, look, I lament that is a thing. But more than that, I think what Cindy said, she held her breath the entire time. Yeah, it's a powerful story, Cindy. I agree. What is the way that he and I both told our stories? Mine was, again, I operated according to the frame. I framed my gospel according to the gospel of purification, and I operated outside of those norms, and I was very hard on myself. So much so that for all of the ways that I coach other people about telling your story, not being afraid or ashamed of where you've been. Do y'all know that even as cool as y'all are, I really was anxious about sharing that story with you? And I think it was because my mama was going to be in the virtual pews and she was going to be like, I sent your ass to college to get an education. What you mean you was hooking up? And then she's going to be asking questions. Who was this hookup with? Because she came to a lot of our gospel concerts. Because there's going to be a lot of questions that Emma Means is going to be asking me after that point, after our time together today. But I was really anxious about sharing this with you. And this is like 1987, this is years ago. Everything worked out fine for all of us, but there was still a sense of shame that I felt that it was even a thing, and even fear in telling you that. I lament that. I lament that even with proof that it all works out, somehow we are still silent, and we're still filled with shame about where we've been. But here's my prophetic hope. My prophetic hope is that we stop hiding, because it's not necessary. It happened. You survived. They survived. You got a funny story to tell. You don't have to keep rehashing it as this space of shame. Everything has already been provided for you. One of my favorite scriptures, and I actually pray this during my divine hours prayer time. And I love it when it comes up kind of on the divine hours prayer time rotation. It says, "To you that hear prayer, shall all flesh come because of their transgressions." I think it was, gosh, who was it that said, someone in the virtual pews shared that like all of us have been hypocrites. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. But too often we're quiet about where we've been because we don't like the term hypocrite. I don't like the term hypocrite. I like the term human. And I also like the term grace. I like that I don't have to continue to beat myself. I don't even have to frame my understanding of how God wants me to move based on the quote gospel of purification. I would really rather just excel in love, excel in grace, excel in forgiveness, and have all of those three things, the love, the grace, and the forgiveness, first for myself, extend it to myself so that I know how to extend it to others. So all is well in all manner of things. Forgive yourself. The third thing that we do at Jesus Jazz and Dessert Wine is we offer an energizing memory. And an energizing memory is just a memory, something that happened that lets you know that life really is worth living. Here's my energizing memory for today. That is me taking a number of years ago. It was actually at my high school alma mater, Woolridge High School. Whenever I had a book that was released, one of the first stops that I would make would be to a Woolridge, where my sister friend Renee Merchant Porter, she was the librarian at that time. And so there I am with a fan. I have the dubious honor of writing books that the librarian calls the quote most stolen in the library. So if you ever wonder, like, Lex, why aren't you more famous? It's because they keep stealing my books. But there we are. And I received a ton of love, and I was able to give a ton of love and to let them know how much I appreciate them, and then to bask in all of the ways that they also appreciated me. That is my energizing memory. The fourth and final thing that we do at Jesus Jazz and Dessert Wine at Vespers is we talk about giving. Now, today I want us to go into the week giving ourselves permission to begin again. Too often people talk about giving as if it's only financial. But there are so many ways that we must practice fidelity to giving. And I would say that with everything that we've seen today, everything that's been shared, my crazy ass story, Anwar's crazy ass story, and the grace that we have both had to have for ourselves and for other people. If we've not done it right, that's okay. Begin again. Give yourself permission to begin again. And then also permit others to begin again. We are all trying to figure out how to do this right and how to do this well. Now, before we close out, let me go to the virtual pews. Love you. Love you more, Dr. Lamb. Pastor Gina says, love myself some Miss Emma. Okay, listen, me too. Me too, Pastor Gina. I love her too. But you see how she be doing me, but I still love her. Good word, Grace. Thank you, Tekka. Absolutely. Yes, please. Always begin again. Yes, yes. Thank you, Tony. Amen. It's a good word. I appreciate y'all so much. Okay, so before we close out, next week is my anniversary. Okay, look, we're always, like when you at a regular church, when the pastor has a special anniversary and they want all the members and friends to come and all of that. Okay, that next week, y'all, is my quote pastor's anniversary. It is the 20th anniversary celebration of the release of my first book, Premature Pleasures. We'll meet right here in the virtual pew, 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. It's the same thing, except this is going to be a very, very, very special occasion for me. I am so looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to being able to show and to share with you how I showed up in the world the very first time I decided to start telling stories, and not just any stories that that make you squirm because you ain't used to hearing it that way. Stories that give a sense of how I have experienced the world, how I see the world, and recruiting others to a space of understanding, awareness, empathy, grace for themselves, where they're like, yo, me too. Like, I know that story as well. So I am really, really excited about next week. And I am hoping that you will show up in the virtual pews and bring some folk. I'll be doing a lot of promotions this week on it. And as promised, I also wanted to, I had said that I was going to post in the comment section the link for the workshops. If you are interested in how to tell true first-person stories, there are a series of different storytelling workshops that I'm going to be doing once Jesus, Jazz, and Dessert Wine ends next week. Well, today is our official last day. Transforming silence into, there we go. Transforming silence into language and action. That's one of my favorites. Guilt, shame, and storytelling is another one. That is a very, very prominent one because I'm going to be focused on shame-basedness from religious structures as well as from families. So we're going to frame it that way. So with that, all minds are clear. Oh, Felicia. Hey, Felicia. Okay, Felicia, you're going to meet this beautiful person. She submitted like commemorative videos for me. And I mean, like the whole thing is just like, I'm telling you, I was so, I'm so grateful. Thank you, Shay. I appreciate you. So just show up next week for the 20th anniversary for the release of my first book. And I call it the 20th anniversary of when I showed up in the world as a storyteller, as someone who is going to do the hard things. And I want to share that time with you. All right. With that, our blessing and our sending. Audre Lorde talks about how the solution to cold is heat. The solution to hunger is food. But the solution to racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, those are layered. But here is where we have all of the power to make a difference in all of those. We don't have those easy solutions, but what we can do is we can show up and we can challenge those experiences and those situations every time they come into our sphere of influence. We got power in that way to check it, to not allow that bullshit to reign, to rest, to feel comfortable on our watch. My prayer is that you not be afraid of the hard things. I pray that you also do the easy things. I pray that what might be easy for some, that you recognize that it might be difficult for you, but if it's right, I pray that you exhibit the courage to get it in. And as always, love is not an option. Love is a commandment. So may the command to love lead you, lead me, lead us towards creative solutions this week. Go show up and show out in the world and give yourself permission to begin again. Ashe, Selah, so be it. It is done and all is well, fam. Thank you so much. I will see you next week for the 20th anniversary celebration of Premature Pleasures. And yours truly, AKA, we're going to just call it hashtag past anniversary. Past anniversary. Bless y'all. Love y'all. See you next week.
My funny Valentine, sweet comet Valentine.